Hey guys, just before I start, I'm going to check making sure that my this live is posted on a public post and not on friends only. It always changes to friends only. Okay. Just before I start, I'm going to check making sure that this live is posted on. Okay, seems good. All right, let's the show begin now. Okay, hello, hi, another episode of Insights with Dean Shams. I'm Dean. So today's topic is going to be very exciting because we're going to talk about doodling. And what is doodling all about? So you know, as a kid, you used to doodle. You know, as a student, when the teacher becomes boring, you doodle. But we have long since given up on that skill. It's actually a very useful skill, according to my guest, Tim Hamons. So let's find out how can we use this skill in a very important process that all of us are thinking. We are trying to process our emotions with this current lockdown, right? Even though we're going to come out of it in a few days, yay, in Singapore. So uh, we are trying to process our emotion. We are also trying to plan out our career and our business in a new way. So instead of just thinking in a new way, why not we do the planning in a new way? So let me bring on my guest, Tim Hamons. Hey, Tim.
Hey, hi.
Hey, you're live now.
I just joined the watch started the watch party on the Facebook. Very good.
Awesome. Okay, okay.
Hi,
So,
Dean. Welcome.
hey,
Hi,
hi.
ready?
And who do we got here? Hey, Gurmit. Hi, Gurmit. All right. So, now let me introduce you, Tim. Tim. So, friends, Tim is the man who can synthesize your ideas into amazing doodle at the speed of thought. Okay, I want to show you an example. There was once when I was doing a talk on public relations, and he on the spot did this. And by the end of my talk, it was all done, and it was as beautiful as this. But today we are not going to talk about how to become as good as him. It's all about how can we use the skill that he is so good at to do the planning. So Tim is also a visual facilitator, speaker, trainer who has helped many organizations transform the way they plan and think. So, Tim, let's dive right into the good part, right? So, I want to ask you the most important question. Why is
Thanks.
doodling so powerful as a planning tool?
Oh, wow. Okay, so doodling has a bit of a bad rap, first of all, because it's seen by teachers to be a distraction. You're not paying attention. You're wasting time. Teachers say, "Stop doodling and look at me." But you can tell a teacher, and this is what we cheekily tell students, you can tell a teacher that when I'm doodling, I'm remembering more because I'm actively listening and processing. And I'm also practicing, it's a kinesthetic learning by listening and drawing down my thoughts. So in the context, that would help you to remember more and to retain more. But in the context of planning, you're actively structuring your thinking and you're organizing your ideas into a picture. So that makes sense for you. It doesn't matter what it looks like to anyone else. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. It's just your thinking. And I suggest to do this in combination with your other, writing, journaling, or other more organized or structured planning tools. But when you draw a picture, you bring an emotional context and content to your goal and your idea and your plan.
Okay,
so
awesome.
A number of benefits we can talk about in a minute. Yeah,
that is quite a good benefit. And now we have something to say against the teachers, right? Anyway, most of us are not students anyway, right? But then if in a meeting, friends, if in a meeting your boss or your client see you caught you doodling, then you tell them, no, I'm actually thinking in a different way. So this doodling is helping me to think, right? Okay, good. So, but we all have stopped doodling as an adult. So, and we are aware that there's a stigma around this habit, right? So, how can we get the skill back without feeling so guilty? Because even now, for me especially, when I start to doodle, I come like, okay, I'm not doing useful work. So I go back to doing the writing aspect of planning.
Yeah.
Right. So how do we get the skill back without feeling so guilty?
Okay, great. So that's a great question, and so there's a lot of there's a lot of cultural baggage I could say around drawing in general. But you know, in our world, there's such an importance on thinking logically, analysis,
Mm,
and that implies, and our school systems generally reinforce this, is to do the
mm,
right thing, and it's important to do the right thing, but the underlying understanding there is don't make mistakes. So we get this stigma around making mistakes. So, you know, 9 out of 10 adults say they can't draw, and so they don't,
mm.
and they miss out on perhaps their greatest skill for thinking, solving problems, communicating their ideas to others, as we mentioned earlier.
I like the fact that you said 9 out of 10 adults says that they can't draw. But
Yeah,
we all started as kids and we all drew without restraint, right?
absolutely. So that's the
Yeah.
key, is to give yourself permission to draw again, to not be perfect. Give yourself permission to play, and it doesn't need, you don't need to have the right answers. When we do this work in our training, you know, we say it's not about the drawing, it's about the idea. It's what the drawing helps you to do. And number two is embrace your childlike curiosity. You know, we're
Mm,
all born with that ability to draw and explore. And when a kid
mm.
does a drawing, the drawing is not, it's not a thing, it's not a result. It's a process of discovering the world. So
Oh,
get back into the process of discovery.
I
And
love
one
the word.
more thing,
I love what you said.
yeah,
The drawing is not the end result. It's a process to something
it's a
else, right? It's a
process.
means to
It's an
something else.
exploration, and you just have to look at any kid.
Exploration. I like that. Okay,
Look at
okay.
any kid doing a drawing, and you'll see there's that. I'll show you a picture in a minute. In a minute, when I share a slide of my young son who loves to
All right.
draw and tell stories. But you know, the other part is to embrace back your drawing. If you're caught, you know, doodling in class and so on, is you can think about the science. So when you're drawing something that's your own idea, it's your story,
Mm,
you're
mm,
anchoring that into, you know, you're organizing your information, so you're connecting your
mm.
existing ideas with your new ideas, and that creates an original synaptic impression. And John Medina says it in his book Brain Rules. It says the more elaborately we encode a memory, the stronger it will become. So you're organizing your thinking. It's hard to do it, especially when you have this. You draw something and your brain says, you know, that little voice says, "I can't draw. That's no good." And you say, "Ah, never mind. I'm gonna just type it, or you know, use another tool."
Mm.
But when you do it, you're doing that hard work of organizing it, putting it into something original and new with your own thinking and structure. So it helps to
So
clarify and anchor.
you mentioned it is hard work. Is that why unconsciously we choose to write instead of draw? Because it seems like it's so much easier to just write out, right? Especially if you are good with words, and then you got so many words to
Yeah,
choose from. What's your take
it's
on that?
yeah, it's a perception that well, because with words, you know, we play to our strengths. If we're good at words, if we're good at organize, you know, PowerPoint is a great tool for presenting,
Mm,
and it has great templates and it looks great. And so when we put in a presentation together with our ideas in a PowerPoint, it looks good, yet it's a left brain, you know, and
that's right.
it's finished. And our brains are more engaged by something that is iterative, that
Mm,
is
mm, mm,
evolving,
mm.
emerging. That's where drawing, live drawing, will always win over a PowerPoint anytime, because your brain is engaged in that story, that emerging story.
I remember when I give trainings and also when I attend workshops, when the trainer writes out and draws out on the flip chart or the whiteboard,
Hmm.
it's a lot, somehow it's a lot more engaging than if I were just to watch a PowerPoint presentation, the
Yeah,
slide after slide, and it just flips, right? And
there you go.
there's no, what is it, the growth, development of the idea. You don't see it coming out. You just see it like snapshot.
That's right. Because and you've got it right, Dean, because that trainer is creating that drawing for you. It's unique
Mm,
to you, that group, that
yeah.
conversation, that context. And you know, it's I mean, that's where things like design thinking is such a powerful and you know, a growing and
Mm,
emerging trend
mm,
in
mm,
creating and problem solving, is because you're doing quick prototyping, which, you know, is a sketch, is a big part of
mm,
that.
mm, mm,
Quick
mm,
prototype. What does this mean? How does it look? What do we do with
mm,
it?
mm. So
So you're
can I
creating
say
a
that, can I say that the drawings and the doodlings that I do is a quick prototype?
um, I hope so. Yeah, because again,
It is a process, right?
it's not about perfection. It's
Yeah.
just about getting your ideas down. So I've actually created a little doodle to show you what are the benefits, if I can
Oh,
show
nice.
that.
You're
So
gonna draw live.
well,
Awesome.
I prepared this ahead of time, but
Okay.
you know, why visuals and why are visuals more powerful? Because you're trying to organize your thinking. You have questions, you have ideas here, and when I put my ideas down onto a paper, I mean, this is a flip chart, I externalize my thinking, and then I can look at it. I can clarify that. I can understand that. So I'm taking these ideas, putting it down on my own goal setting, mapping, or so on.
Okay.
And then, you know, I can work if I'm working with a group in a brainstorming or something, then I can, you know, we have a shared understanding of these ideas are now the group's ideas. I hope you can see that. A shared understanding. And then you can map it out, right? So that you have this shared learning. My Post-it dropped.
That's okay.
Mapping out your idea. So this is just a little doodle to represent the value of visualizing your ideas, doodling your ideas, and the way to map that out.
Do you know what? But I look at your at what you have drawn, and also in your background, you got this beautiful chart of us. It looks like a journey. So I'm not an artist, so I will feel so ashamed of my drawing. How can I ever get? So all these thoughts are going. How can I ever get as nice as yours? So how can I overcome? You know, this I would say a mental block or belief, a negative belief. Yeah.
Okay.
So how? Yeah.
Okay. Two words. Don't compare. Stop comparing. You know, that's a big killer of our creativity, is comparing what we're doing. You know, you make a simple drawing and then you look at a professional, you know, an artist or an architect or, you know,
like yourself, right? You are a professional. Right?
Yeah. So you look at this. I mean, so if you look closely into this, there's nothing really fancy about the drawing. It's just how it's organized. It's a visual journey. This is a 2-day workshop, visual facilitation lab that we do, and it's organized. It's words. It's organized around an arrow. That's a journey, and there's simple icons there. And so if you think about how to regain that creativity and that connection to doing it, it's just these are all using really simple shapes: circle, square, rectangle, cloud, line, triangle. You can organize any idea using those simple shapes. It's how you put it together. So don't compare.
So be proud of your
yourself.
ideas, right? Don't focus on the drawing, but focus on the idea that the drawing represents. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, it's not about the drawing. It's about the idea. That's one of the key. Here it is. I've got it on my card here. It's not about the drawing. It's about the idea.
Oh, wow.
It's what the drawing
on the spot.
So anyway, these are like alternative to slides that we do in some of our visual trainings. And the other part is that every drawing is a gift. It's a gift to yourself, your imagination in the context of goal setting or career planning. It's a gift to a group if you're brainstorming, mapping out, organizations looking at their future strategy. You know, how do we move forward in this time of uncertainty, reimagine our future? These are things we do with companies, and you can do with yourself through drawing.
Actually, you know, as you're showing those cards, I remember being in workshops where the trainer will ask us to draw out something, right? And then we draw out. I feel, at least and I know a few of the people around me will say, "Oh, my drawing is so funny." But when we look at other people, we don't think of it as funny. We don't think of it as bad. We think like, "Hey, this is nice." And yet we think about those things on our own, about our own drawing, right? I thought that was kind of skewed way of looking drawing, right? We tend to be very hard on ourselves, but not hard on others, right?
We are our own worst critics. And another thing is a lot of people have, well, there's a term that was from Brene Brown called art scars. Art scars. Some, you know, you made a picture when you're a kid, and some well-intentioned teacher or adult perhaps said, the tree branches don't look like that, or, you know, they aren't that color. Which
leaves are supposed to be green, not blue, right?
And so you make a decision based on that criticism or that comment. You make a decision to say, I can't do it. It's too painful. I can't draw anymore. And that's something that that a lot of adults carry through, far too long, and it holds back your creativity in lots of ways, because we've spoken to lots of people that have some kind of story like that, and maybe you do, or some of the some of the people listening.
Yeah.
But so be kind on yourself, don't compare, and just start drawing something simple. Yeah, and I can show you in a minute, a little drawing demo as well.
Okay, so you've come to the right spot. You ended off with that, saying that you're going to show, because my next question that I have is that, today we have so many apps, we have so many templates online that we can use to plan out our career, plan out our business. I remember there's one called Business Canvas Model, which everyone is using it. It's all about words. So how then can we plan out using illustration and using doodling? So you're saying that you're going to show us, right?
Yeah, so two things. Number one, just you're drawing simple pictures, and think about, you're talking about, how do I replan what's going on for me in the future? Drawing a simple picture creates a story. So what is the story that you want to create about your future? And I just drew this really simple thing in my sketchbook. There's a little garden, right? And there's a process of growing, and there is tools here. There's the gardener, right? And there's an end result. So these tools represent something. Sorry, I'm in mirror mode. What am I doing to take care of my goals? First of all, what are those goals and intentions? What am I doing every day? And what are the end results that I'm getting to? So nobody could say you can't draw something as simple as that to start to activate your thinking. And that's the value of like a visual template, like the business model canvas. It has a structure. You can write ideas. You can add simple icons. It energizes and it focuses your thinking. Yeah.
Will you be showing us live now? How are you going to
draw? I'll just show you a simple thing. Hope I get this in the right spot. So here's a bit of a challenge, and also the value of using visuals to articulate your ideas. So here you are, little guy, little star person. And when we have a goal or intention, it's out here, it's in the future, it's away from us, right? So, but if we can draw a picture, a symbol, we visualize that idea, right? When we visualize that idea, we emotionalize that idea.
I love that word, emotionalize. Yeah.
The key to creating impact is to have an emotional connection to your idea. So by drawing a simple picture, you emotionalize that idea, and then you internalize that. You bring it back home. So you're connecting this idea back inside through a simple drawing. And this is just a model that I sort of, as I thought about visual goal setting. And I'll just share a simple process about how
before you go on, so I just want to reiterate. So there seems to be 3 steps: visualize, emotionalize, and internalize. Cannot get any simpler than that.
That's the process, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the theory. But really the steps is just to draw it down, put your ideas down, a simple picture and your words. When you put your picture and your words together, I'm going to come back to this little one. And I just put the word grow there, and then I can add my own goals, my own goals, my own models, ideas. Can I share this? I'll just share this one with you. This is this visual goal setting template, and you can share a link with that in your page. But so this is a visual goal setting template which I created and shared in a talk last year, and we shared with companies. But the idea is it's a story, right, of a balloon launch. And if you've ever been to a balloon launch, it's inspiring. It takes your breath away. You look up, you're captured. You're in that state of awe. So the idea is you put your goals into the balloon. What is one of my goals? What is a big one? What are some other goals? And then down below it, what are my resources? What am I grateful for? What are my strengths? What are my future visions that I see, in the future? So you're engaging with your goals and your stories through the model and the story of an inspiring event. So you can use a simple visual template like that, or you can create something of your own, really simple, or you can create one more. I'm just going to show you as simple as it can be. Create.
Let me give you the screen.
A simple journey map, right? That's just a road, nothing fancy. But in there, you have where am I now, current state, where am I in the future, and what are some of the steps along the way. You're creating a simple, very simple map with some story around it. What are my big picture ideas? I park down here. What are some, possible challenges or gaps? And that's just an icon of like a roadblock. What pulls me forward, and so on. So you're creating a simple model. These activate your story. Our brains love story. We have a preference for story, and a preference for visuals over words. So when you put those ideas together, a story, pictures and words, boom.
I like that. I like what you said, because I know for a fact that when we think in languages, but when we remember, most of us remember in images, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's called one of the names. It's called is picture superiority. So
that's interesting. Okay, can you tell me more about this picture superiority?
It means we have a preference for visuals over other forms of communication. And in a room, if you're doing, this is for trainers and teachers, facilitators, 2/3 of your room will have a preference for pictures over just what you present, spoken words. So
that's the majority, right? 2/3.
Yeah. Either a preference for visuals or a combination of visuals and auditory. That's how the preference of learning. So when you bring pictures in through a goal setting process or a visual process in for a facilitation or a group work process using templates such as this, for goal setting or for problem solving or strategy, there's plenty of templates around there for mapping it out. You engage that visual imagination. And that visual.
So would you recommend having a certain special set of stationery for us to do this well? How can I start now?
Whatever you have, pencils, pens, preferably have at least 3 colors, because our brain likes colors, and it shows some differentiation. When I do this, a template such as this, I create these images in a lighter color and words in the darker color. That way I can write and draw on top of the image.
There's depth, right? And
layering.
Layering.
Yeah, and the preference is on the words, and what I draw on there, and the background is the image in the template.
So since our conversation is about planning, especially for career planning or business planning, it's about the same, right? Career planning or business planning. Would you recommend a certain format? Like, should it be going up? Should it be like you have one balloon, but balloon is one by one discrete items, right? So our planning is usually a journey. So what kind of imagery would you recommend as a start? Because imagine I can't draw at all. I've completely shut down my drawing skills. I won't say I can't draw. I won't say that I cannot draw ever again. It's just that I think we shut down those parts. So how can we start? Give us a guide to start.
To start planning and mapping your goals. So I just shared one, which was this. Is that too light? This.
Let me give you the screen.
Like a journey map.
That's one, the road.
Right. Here we are now. The other one, the garden that I mentioned. So these are different metaphors.
You need to raise your.
These are different metaphors for planning. It could be just an arrow. What do I want to achieve? Now, number 2, number 3, number 4. These could be time periods. It could be a 1-year process. You know, with the whole world is in a process of reimagining, reconsidering who I am. How do I bring my value into the world? What does the world need? And how can I reimagine what we are doing and the value that we bring? So you can see that as a journey. You can see that as a growth process. As an arrow is suggesting time and more of a linear process. You could, as I showed you, this balloon. So, or you could just draw a simple picture. You know, when we do the trainings, we say there's 3 general ways you can represent an idea. One is a model, which is a simple picture. Another is a diagram, which shows relationships, right? Like, here's a cup of coffee,
Okay.
someone drinking it, right? A picture. Here's a diagram, which can show maybe 3 aspects of a great cup of coffee. Or you could show it as a metaphor, and I could draw a cup of coffee up here in the clouds above the ground, and that must be an extraordinary cup of coffee that sends you to the clouds, right? So as
Send you to heaven, right?
send you to heaven. A model, which is a simple picture, or a diagram, which I'm just doing this really quickly, a diagram that shows relationships and some kind of process, perhaps, or a metaphor, which gives you a new relationship to that idea. So you can draw your goals as a model. I'm just, you know, a tree, a model, this balloon, as a diagram, which shows some kind of process, or as a metaphor. You know, a journey can also be a metaphor. A garden is a form of a metaphor. The balloon, hot air balloon we showed is also certainly a metaphor. Yeah.
So I also noticed that your drawing is really very, can I say, basic, which really gives me, and I'm sure a lot of people who are reviewing, the reassurance that it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be beautiful, right?
Yeah.
You just draw it out. Just draw it out, right?
Can I show you two things, Dean? The one is the
Sure thing.
the sharing.
Do you want the slides on? Yeah.
I just show one picture, and then I'd like to just do a quick drawing demo, if that's okay. Okay.
Sure.
There you go. Okay. So number 1, well, so kids. I mentioned children are natural storytellers. They use pictures for telling stories. That's our son, and that's my wife. We paint. You know, we're painting a picture of an ideal house, vacation. So pictures are a great way for goal setting, planning. And then here's the visual template of the hot air balloon. Again, it's a narrative. Our brains love narrative and story. And it's a great way to engage your imagination into your goal setting or planning process. So you could take a screenshot of that, or you could we could send you the link to that. Yeah. So is it okay to draw something here?
Sure. Go ahead. Okay. I'll give you the full screen.
Okay. So remember I mentioned the challenge with goals is that it's outside of us, right? When we visualize, we emotionalize, and then can internalize. So so I'll just share an example that I had. So in my past, I was doing a number of things, different kinds of training, team building, creative thinking training, and I was kind of saying yes to everything just to have jobs, get the work. But what happened is my value was diminishing, and also I was questioning, like, what really am I about? Where is my value? So, and how do I take care of, you know, family and pay for what we need to, and so on. And then I learned about something out here. It was called the IFVP, International Forum of Visual Practitioners. And they have a conference coming up. These are people that are doing visual work for goal setting and for company planning and everything that I wanted to do. I said, I have to go. We have to go. So I said to my wife, we got to go. So how many trainings do I need to get? I worked out a certain number of trainings and a dollar amount, and how many programs does that link to in the context of what I was doing. So I had the left brain, my math over here, a number, And then I did something else. After I figured that out, then I drew a simple picture, something not much more complex than this. It had my goal, it had myself and my wife going, it had some images here about how we would feel when we are there, and I made a really simple picture like this. I put it on my wall in front of my table. I looked at it every day as well as this. I planned how do I get the sales and so on, and I looked at this to create the emotional connection to my goal and my idea. This is a simple model. It's a simple drawing, really simple. Myself, my wife, the goal, how I felt. So there's an example of putting your, do the work here, the planning, but also creating a simple picture helps to energize, emotionalize, and internalize. So we went to that conference. It changed our business focus. This was 2011, and since then we've been focusing on, this work, the visual facilitation, visual practice work.
That's a really great story for us who are still thinking, should I not draw out? Is it a waste of time? I think you made it very clear. The difference is, for me, when I see you doing it, is that it really hit home what you mean by internalize, because I can see it and I can put it on the wall and I don't need to read it. I just look at one look and it says something to me. It hits, it resonates in me. So that's really powerful. And talking about that, I have heard of art therapy. I've never been to an art therapy session. And we also have seen, in the past few years, there's been a lot of adult coloring book that's supposed to help us de-stress or, I don't know, become more creative. I'm not so sure what's the benefit of that, but I'm very aware of it. I even tried to buy, I bought one book, but I never colored anything inside because I don't know, I just, right? So what's your take about those things, art therapy and doodling? Can doodling be considered art therapy? And how can we do that consciously?
Well, I mean, so it's a question of the terms, I guess. Doodling means many things. We do in our professional work, it's called visual facilitation or graphic recording and a number of things. And clients call out, when they announce us to their audience, they say, we have a doodler, right? And I kind of smile, I say, that's okay, as long as it's a name people are familiar with. So anyway, the art therapy books, what I think what's valuable with those is because it's a simple, repetitive process. You can let go of your need to think or to draw something right. You're just picking up a marker or a crayon or a colored pencils are great. And that simple, repetitive process of shading and coloring is relaxing. It calms us down. It's a good practice for, mindfulness, being present, releasing stress. You're filling up something, and you feel a simple sense of accomplishment. Some people, my wife loves cooking. When she feels stressed, she goes into the kitchen and she's not using colored markers, but she's reaching into the fridge and finding what is there, putting it together with her creativity and love of food and taking care of the family and creating a beautiful dish. So it's repetitive, it's relaxing. So in that way, it's stress relieving. With the doodling that I was talking about here, it can be just the same thing, relaxing, drawing a simple pattern, drawing, spirals or lines, repetitive patterns is relaxing. But if you're doing it for goal setting and planning, then you're doing it more intentionally. You're organizing, you're thinking. And so there's a lot of areas in between. You can just be doodling, and then an idea comes, and then you wake up and say, that's interesting. But my encouragement would be to practice drawing a conversation. And it could be a conversation with yourself, my goals, or with someone else. Practice drawing their goals, and then show that back to them and say, here's what I heard you say. You said this, and there's this, and I have a simple picture. Again, it doesn't matter really what it looks like. It's a form of feedback. It's also acknowledging and validating that their ideas and their voice. And that's so very powerful. That someone hears you, you're fully listened to, and you're giving them your full presence and gift of listening.
That's very interesting you said. I think I can see this doodling being applied to, let's say, a mentoring session or a coaching session, right? Because when you said, okay, this is what you're saying, and I've doodled it, and this is what I take from what you have said. So
Yes.
that's very interesting. Yeah. So is there any last one? Okay, before that, if people want to know more about what you do, you have a website, right? Is that Art of Awakening?
You can see it behind me there.
Yeah,
Dun, dun, dun.
Art of Awakening what? .com, .sg, what's that?
Yeah, it's artofawakeningasia.com.
Asia.com.
Yeah, artofawakeningasia.com.
Okay.
Here we are on our T-shirt as well. Ta-da! Art of Awakening. It says
So,
on the back,
friends,
it says, every drawing is a gift.
That's nice. That's nice.
Anyway, there's our story.
Is that for sale? The T-shirt. You never
The
know.
T-shirt?
You might have fans.
We've only used it for our team, but when we do our workshops, we give participants a kit. There's a nice bag of
That's nice.
with similar stuff. But if someone wants to buy it,
place your orders, right?
good idea.
Right? Because this is on Facebook, so one way or another, I'm sure people who are watching this can get connected with you and ask more questions. So, friends, if you have learned a lot, I have learned a lot about doodling and the power of visualize. What do you call that? Visualize. I'm trying to think of visualize, and then what? Visualize, then
emotionalize,
and internalize.
Your
So
ideas.
if you find this really, okay, Linda Lam has a question. When is your next
Great.
workshop? So is that, I suppose she's asking for a public workshop, right? Do you have a workshop coming up?
Well, we do. We have one scheduled in October. So
okay, so Linda and anyone else who wants to know more, you know how to get to Tim. So with that, friends, if you find this really useful, please share it on your timeline, share the video in a message, in a WhatsApp, whatever, you know the link is up there. So thank you for watching, and Tim, thanks so much for imparting all your wisdom and your knowledge and skills to us. And guys, have a good day ahead, and remember, June 19th, Singapore, we can go out and eat out, and yay. Oh yes, every drawing is a gift.
Remember, every drawing is a gift. Keep giving your gift. Be like a child. Give your gift of your drawing.
Nice.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Dean. Thanks, everyone, for watching.